Hi guys, it is me here, Max again, back with a brand new political video. And today we are going to take a look at what has finally happened. It's been building up for months. The United States Supreme Court has now finally overturned Roe versus Wade. Now, I will offer you my thoughts on that in a bit. I'll offer you my own take, my emotional feelings about this, and how I personally think we should progress in the future, and overall whether I think the decision was right or not. Now, first of all, let's take a little look at which states are going to outlaw abortions and which states are going to have it remain legal. And I also have a maybe category for the states where we cannot be fully or entirely certain whether they're going to be banned there or not. Now, this video does not focus on the current state of abortions. As of right now, at this very minute, I believe they're only illegal in 3 states: South Dakota, Louisiana, and Tennessee. But a lot of other states are in the process of banning it within less than a month. This map will represent the legality of abortion within the next half a year or so. And we're going to go through each and every single state. Now, first of all, we're going to mark Kentucky, or was it Kentucky? No, yeah. It was Kentucky, not Tennessee. Kentucky. What the hell is wrong with that? There we go. We're going to mark Kentucky, Louisiana, and South Dakota. By the way, this is the map of the United States and Canada on yet another political map simulator, and I just removed Canada. Yeah, Kentucky, Louisiana, and South Dakota already have abortions entirely illegal. Now, other than that, entirely certain to ban it are Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, probably North Dakota, obviously Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, Nebraska. I think Iowa's going to ban it as well. Alabama, probably also South Carolina. And, yeah, so far. All right, now, in Kansas, as of right now, the Democrats still have a Democratic governor in the state of Texas, and I believe she will outlaw any type of abortion ban. However, I'm pretty sure she's going to get voted out, and whoever replaces her will probably pass a law to ban abortions. So I think Kansas, you can say, is almost certainly going to ban abortions at some point. In Ohio, Indiana is almost certain to ban it. Probably Ohio as well. But the Republican governor there is a little more moderate, so he might put a little bit higher of a threshold. Maybe it won't be an outright abortion ban. Maybe it'll have a little more restrictions on late-term abortions, but it won't be an outright ban. So we're going to put Ohio in the lean category. Now, Georgia, the Republicans have the governorship, and the governor there has already signed a heartbeat bill, so I think they'll progress further in the direction of outlawing abortions. Florida as well, probably. North Carolina has a Democrat governor, so I don't really see that coming as of right now. I'll put this under maybe. In Virginia, however, the governor, Glenn Youngkin, has already initiated changes that steer the state towards a direction that bans abortions more so than it does now. Because as of right now, there's no limit on abortions. You can have an abortion even if you're 8 months, 3 weeks pregnant. So that is certainly going to change. However, I do not know how much of a change he'll be able to enact. I'm pretty sure the Republicans have flipped the House of Delegates, so there will be at least something that he can do. Now, all right, other than that, which states do we have? Now, Wisconsin, there's a pretty solid Republican majority in both the state House and the state Senate. I do think they might even be able to override the governor's veto. I'll have to look it up. Wisconsin State Legislature. Yeah, so it's really interesting to see, because now we're not making an election prediction for a change, we're making an actual policy prediction. We'll have to figure out whether a state is going to enact a certain policy or not. And I do think that the Republicans don't have a super majority for overriding the governor's veto in Wisconsin. However, I do think Tony Evers is going to eventually lose come this November, so probably Wisconsin will enact some sort of abortion ban. If Republicans had a supermajority in that state, I would put it as likely to ban. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, Virginia, of course. Forgot about them. They're going to ban it for sure. All right, now. That is it so far. In Michigan, if Gretchen Whitmer loses, I do think there are going to be more restrictions. However, she hasn't lost yet, and I don't think she's on the track to do so. So we'll put this under maybe. Arizona, the Republican Party there is a little more moderate. I have a hard time believing that Doug Ducey will sign a hardline abortion ban. And it really depends on how the election there goes. The Democrats might pick up a few seats, and there's a chance they even win the governorship. So I'll put in Arizona under maybe as well. Montana I'll also put under maybe, even though it's a Republican state. Montana has a pretty libertarian, small government mindset, so I'm sure they will have more of an issue passing such a law than a state like Idaho or Wyoming will have. I also think Nevada maybe or may not pass more restrictive abortion laws. That also depends on how the governors and state legislature elections go there. And yeah, so far so good. Now I believe we have all the Pennsylvania is also one of those maybe states where you can never be entirely sure, because if Doug Mastriano gets into office and has a Republican legislature, yep, he will definitely make it more difficult to get an abortion. Now, let's move on. I think we have all the states that are probably going to ban abortions or maybe ban abortions. And states where there's a high likelihood that it'll eventually happen, like Ohio, Wisconsin, Kansas, just not in much of an extreme way as the other states. Now, then there are a few states where probably everything will remain the same way it is right now, if not get even more lax due to backlash to the Supreme Court leak. Now, I honestly believe Alaska is more likely than not to have abortions remain legal, because just like Montana, Alaska is a pretty libertarian state with a mindset live and let live, and even though some people say that fetus is human life, they're probably not going to pass any laws regarding behavior. Not as much as other states. Now, Washington is definitely going to have it remain legal. Oregon is extremely hardline on abortion. It's illegal until right before the birth, so nothing's going to change there. So is New Mexico, so is California. I know California has more restrictions, but New Mexico and Colorado also do not have any restrictions on abortions. So I think it'll remain legal in both states, even though New Mexico there's a decent chance they might have a Republican governor after this fall, so I'll put New Mexico as likely to maintain it legal. And yeah, Hawaii is also safe. Now, what else do we have here? Minnesota, Democrats have a solid majority there, so I think it's probably going to remain legal in Minnesota, at least for the foreseeable future. But actually, I think one of the Minnesota chambers is Republican, so I'll put this under lean. Like, at least one of their legislatures is Republican, so there is a chance some sort of a law gets passed that makes abortions a little more restricted, but that would have to go through a Democratic governor who's more likely than not going to win re-election. But there is a decent chance in Minnesota that they will pass some more restrictive laws if Republicans win the governorship and maintain a majority in both chambers in the state legislature. So I'm not sure whether to put this as lean or tilt, but for now the lean category would probably fit a little better. Now I think Illinois is pretty certain to have it maintained legal. Be maintained as legal. New York definitely. Connecticut, yeah. Rhode Island. Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire. New Hampshire is pretty libertarian leaning, and Kristen Noon, the Republican governor, is also more in favor of having it remain legal than passing any restrictive laws. Yeah, actually can put New Hampshire as safe, because I have a hard time believing they'll eventually do anything. But because it's not as blue as the other states, maybe put it as likely. Now then there is New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland. And there we go. But actually, New Hampshire's never going to pass less restrictive abortion laws. However, it doesn't matter. All right, now, here we go. We have 3 categories, all with different classifications on whether abortions are going to remain legal or will become illegal. We have 25 states where it probably get illegal, 19 states where it's guaranteed to be legal, or at least somewhat likely to be legal. The only state where I'm sort of skeptical if it's going to remain legal is Minnesota, but all the other states I'm pretty certain that it will stay like that. And there are 6 states that are really up in the air. We'll have to see how the political situation there develops within the coming years. So these states could go other way. Some of them might pass more restrictive laws. Some of them might pass them and repeal them and bring them back. I really don't know. But this is the current state of affairs. So what most people in the media say is true. Half the states are going to keep it, half the states are going to abolish it. That's about what I would say. Now, here we go with my own view on this issue. I have not made a secret out of it that I believe Roe v. Wade was the wrong decision. I still firmly believe that the court overstepped its boundaries, that it was not right to just legislate from the bench and declare abortions legal throughout the land if it had been a historical precedent that states can regulate it on their own basis. But I do have to say, I kind of feel uncomfortable with this latest decision because it does one thing above all. It fuels political divisiveness and it undermines trust in the court. John Roberts was very, very justified in his fear about the court losing its prestige if it overturns such a long and strong precedent. And trust in the court is at an all-time low. 25% of Americans trust that court to be neutral in their state of mind. The Supreme Court is supposed to be an apolitical body of the government. And yet, only a quarter of Americans believe it to be objectively neutral and to be serving the best interest of the people and Constitution. That is a terribly low number. And yes, the Supreme Court should be as originalist as it possibly can be. But what is perhaps even more important is that the court maintains its credibility. Because the Supreme Court has no enforcement power. The Supreme Court could say anything. If the states and the federal government ignore it, there's literally nothing the court can do. The court needs to maintain its prestige. The court needs to remain at 9 justices and needs to be that rock in the storm that is not involved by political bargaining, that takes an objective and neutral look at everything, and the court hasn't been like that in decades. There have been so many liberal activist justices who legalized gay marriage, and so many conservative activist justices who have overturned Roe v. Wade and made guns legal throughout the land for private ownership, which hadn't been the case before. The United States Supreme Court has become way too political. It has really become too political. And neither court packing nor more Republican justices will change that. What will change that is appointing justices that are centrist. Justices that are like John Roberts. Justices that at least try to appear neutral rather than being so up and honest about that the only reason why they're on that court is to get their will through, and that they only look at the Constitution for justification rather than for reasoning for what they're doing. And yeah, I believe activist justices have become a giant problem, and I think that they will further fuel the divisiveness within our country. But they're not the only reason for that. I believe that if we want to come together as a country, we have to stop looking at these bullshit culture war issues like LGBT shit, like pride parades, like don't say gay bills, or this abortion shit, late-term abortions, ban them completely. No, we need to find common, moderate ground on those social issues so we can go back towards focusing on actually important issues like the economy and the outsourcing of our jobs. That's what I'm trying to say. And perhaps immigration is one of these issues that we need to actively debate as well, even though that's oftentimes gets lumped into the culture war category. We need to focus as a nation on what actually matters, and I believe a continued discussion about abortion and other shit like that will not help with it at all whatsoever. That's everything that I have to say. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know about your own take on the abortion issue in the comment section down below. And I would be very eager to find out how the situation develops in the coming years. Whether my prediction will age well, whether it will age poorly, we'll see about that. But as right now, that's it, guys. Have a wonderful day, and Max out. Bye bye.